Welcome to the Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macroplot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order, and you can skip any that you don't enjoy. Today, we are playing using the mechanics from a game called Community Radio. It's our first time playing, so we might make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find Community Radio on thoughtcrimes.itch.io. Play a game of Community Radio with friends. Speaking of friends, today we are joined by Fennis Lightwall.
Hello. I am Fennis Lightwall. I am of a height. I'm a 5'9", half-fae, green-haired man with fairly long hair that I try to take care of, but it gets messy occasionally. I can't help it.
Great. Sadie Duca.
Yeah, I'm definitely Sadie Duca, for sure. I'm a Macritus elf, so I have this ears problem, sort of. Depends on how fast I turn my head. They're very wide, and they stretch out like the horizon. And that's what being a Macritus elf means. We live for a long time, and we have ears that get longer and longer the older we live. They never stop growing, you know?
And Mervon the Stolid.
Hey, thanks for having me. Mervon is, I'm a little under 8 feet tall, but don't like to be reminded of that. About 800 pounds, and really the runt of my family. And if anything, when you find me, you're going to find me in overalls, tinkering with some things. I'm a hippo, if you will, but I walk upright.
All right, so in Community Radio, we alternate between improv scenes by the players and radio scenes by the host. That's me. In our episode today, I've added a little bit more structure than is in the default game, but it's supported by the development of this game. There's a tradition in Community Radio of playing it this way. So each scene I will introduce with telling the players what the setup is, and they will have the opportunity. They'll play out a scene as their characters mostly. If somebody says, "I don't think my character would be in this scene, I'll play an NPC," that's totally okay. And then during the musical interludes, they provide decrees to the radio host, and I will read a decree during each radio break, as well as kind of a report from the radio host about what just happened. One of the differences here is that we have pre-seeded some of the stuff that would normally, if you're playing at a table together, you would just like hand the GM a note or on an index card, and the GM would shuffle them right before the scene starts. But instead, I've curated a little bit to add that structure. So that's a little bit about the rules and mechanics and how this actual play is a little different than what you might get in a Community Radio game at the table. All right. So our first scene starts with, here's the scenario. Mervius Lightwall has found the pentacle of Retskirt's heart and has undergone a physical transformation, into a goblet. Chaos ensues. This scene starts at Mizu's potion shop and should include both Mervius Lightwall and Kyger. Mervius is kind of troubleshooter. Fennis, would you say? Kyger is Mervius's bodyguard, troubleshooter.
Essentially, nanny.
Are you ready to begin?
Yeah.
All right. Begin.
So we seem to have a little bit of a problem here. This goblet. I don't know if you are familiar with it. Can you take a look at it if you don't mind?
And so we step into Mizu's to take a look at the relic, and bolts of light are shooting out of the relic and hitting things and turning them into goblins. That potion became a goblin. That Mervius Lightwall became a goblin. It's chaos. I duck under a beam of light.
Quick question for the GM. Did you say goblet or goblin?
Goblin.
Okay. That's what I misunderstood. I apologize. But now it's a goblet
also,
doing this.
What's a goblet? Is that some sort of goblin?
Yeah. So it's like a chalice, a cup.
Goblin.
Running with it. The goblet is the amulet of Retskirt, and the goblin is what it transforms you into. There's a cup, and it's shooting laser beams. Everything it hits, turning into a goblin.
Okay.
Including your brother.
And seeing the light shooting out of it, I immediately just chuck this thing as far across the room as I can, trying to avoid, in turn, being goblinized.
It's arching through the air, rotating, beams of light shooting out from it.
As an 800-pound hippo person leaps with surprising grace over the counter, just avoiding a beam as it smashes into the counter, huddled behind the counter.
The counter becomes a goblin.
Oh no, inanimate objects are becoming goblins.
Yeah.
Well, this, I'm not sure how we get out of this one. I'm not going to be honest with you. It wasn't exactly what I had in mind when we came in here, and I feel I should apologize for your shop.
Sadie, the elf with wide ears as flat as the horizon, ducks behind the goblin that was formerly the counter as it scratches its armpit and looks around, confused, and says to Mervon, the giant hippo, "Mervon, if that hits the ground, this could be the end of the world," as a floorboard turns into the goblin.
I did not. Well, I mean, I gotta be honest, I didn't expect the whole inanimate objects becoming goblins thing, so now I see the fear that all of existence could become goblins, if you will. So, well, after a lot of just emotional turmoil that for him seems to last for hours, but is milliseconds, he launches across the room, diving under to catch the goblet. And in a flash of brilliant light, you see, really, it's an 800-pound, 8-foot tall goblin with a mixture of green and mottled gray skin going, how do I look? I feel a little weird. This day is not gone like I expected. And frankly, I'm a little self-conscious.
Well, Mervon, you look as dashing as ever, I would say.
Mervon stands up, still trying to straighten his clothes, and keeping the goblet in his armpit, realizing the danger it poses. And then also notices that the overalls are fitting a little loose. He's like, did I lose some weight? Be honest. Do I look thin?
Don't be so hard on yourself. You look as pretty and plump as you ever did.
You are a spherical object, my friend. Have no worry.
I think you're both beautiful people too, but I'm married, and I appreciate what you say, and my wife might get a little upset.
Gosh, compliments among friends. So as long as you keep that goblet of goblining under your armpit, the world is safe.
So I'm going to have to walk around with a goblet in my armpit for ever?
On the bright side, think about what it'll do for your muscles. That's got to be, that's a workout to do forever.
Oh, absolutely flexes on that one. Chest out, just excited about that. Well, I respect what you're saying, but maybe we got to find a path forward with this thing. Shopkeep, you hear, are you a goblin?
And scene. And now we will have a musical interlude. While that is happening, my players have the opportunity to send in a decree, which may be in response to this recent goblin shenanigans.
It's coming down the street. Silently you'll hear its heartbeat. Darkness creeps into the mist. We've seen things we just can't dismiss. Run, run, the creature's nigh. Hide, hide, don't catch its sight. Scream, scream, the town's in fright. Pray, pray, survive the night. Shadows stretch across the walls. No one knows for who it calls. Whispers from the other side. In this town you just can't hide. Run, run, the creature's nigh. Hide, hide, don't catch its eye. Scream, scream, the town's in fright. Pray, pray, survive the night.
You've been listening to a song from the Hippoland homeland. That was The Creature by Danilo. Did you know that Niqamui was home to the first Goblin labor union in 49,380? The union lasted 3 complete weeks before union leaders were given a single shining gemstone and told there would be no more. Inter-union disagreement led to its dissolution within 36 hours. Well, apparently one of the artifacts of Retskirt has made its way to Niqamui as some goblin shenanigans happened down in the Potion District. Personally, I feel like the alchemical and potion making industry here in Niqamui may need greater regulation. These kinds of scenarios happen all too frequently. It's a potion here and a potion there, and the next thing we know, we have the green door to what is it? Sorry, the humming green portal, destination unknown, appearing in the middle of nightclubs. It gets out of hand is really what I've seen and experienced myself. But I feel like on this beautiful evening, despite all this goblin chicanery, which I understand was actually cleaned up fairly effectively by the fire-breathing kittens, I still feel like there's sort of maybe we should be looking towards maybe putting a few checks and balances there, maybe for safety reasons. I'm not really sure. Niqamui is such an interesting town that way. So, meanwhile, from the Niqamui Community Council, I do have this decree. Places which have undergone supernatural transformation must be sterilized. All right, our next slice of life scene is as follows. The ever-encroaching fog announces itself to the community, which reacts in a playful manner. The ever-encroaching fog responds in kind. This scene starts at the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. Blanche the Svelte must appear sometime in the scene.
Anybody, y'all noticed that fog outside, right?
Oh, thank goodness you see it too.
Oh. Yeah, I was a little afraid at first, but then people seemed to be okay with it, and weirdly, the fog seemed to be actually kind of pleasant.
Yeah, I waved at it, and it waved back, so I gave it some mashed potatoes, and it gave me some mashed potatoes back.
Did it give you new mashed potatoes
really
back,
nice
or throw mashed potatoes yours back at you? It could be hostile. It's hard to say.
They were inside the bowl still, slid across the ground.
Oh, well, and they returned your bowl. There's something to be said for that. That's just good neighborly behavior right there. We could use a lot of this here in Niqamui.
We could use a lot more fog like that. The fog I normally see is much less polite.
Fog are interesting. I'm going to say folk. I don't really know the proper term. And for all of the fog listening, I apologize. I'm not trying to pigeonhole you into any one group or entity or whatever. However you define yourself is your business, and it is none of mine. And what? Hold on. My wife's a little... I know. Look, I apologized for gendering or speciesing them. That is not my fault. Blanche, I get it. Well, I'm tired of what you're doing. You're just constantly assigning people to things, and this is really unacceptable. I know it's unacceptable, and I'm sorry. I apologize. They gave the bowl back. I said they were fine folk, and there you go again. You called them folk. You don't even know what. I'm sorry.
I slide a bowl of scalloped potatoes to Blanche.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you. Is that fresh Parmesan on there?
They're crusted with So I took the potato and I cut the sides of it to make it look like a scallop, and I put it in butter, and I baked it first, and then I put it in butter and I crusted the top and made them like all brown and crunchy on the top and creamy on the inside. And then, yes, I did dust them lightly with a round of Parmesan.
This is lovely. Do you mind if I have this?
It's for you.
Oh, well, thank you. And just literally jaw opens up, bowl dumped in its entirety. And then after rolling around in your mouth for a while, you hear, and then the bowl pops back out, pristinely clean. She's like, that was lovely. Thank you. And hands you a hippo slobber covered bowl back to you.
I accept it. You wonder how clean all of the rest of Sadie's cooking has been as she puts it hippo cleaned back on the shelf. The GM is grimacing, like shock, like open mouth.
Well, getting back to the...
What are germs?
Oh, well...
No, that's out of character. Sadie does not know.
Maybe we should discuss this fog a little more. It seems nice enough. It's encroaching. Do we know what's in the fog or on the other side of it? Or has anyone seen anybody come out of it?
I have not quite yet, but I have seen quite a few gestures made towards it in a wild and panicked manner at first, but it is encroaching rather slowly, so I think that might be the reason that there's no immense distress.
Interesting. You know what they say, good fences and good leaf blowers make good neighbors, and I really think that, look, we should consider, they're probably nice, but, and again, I know they're not a they, I'm sorry, but we should figure out exactly what the plan is here.
And scene.
Have we tried asking the fog how it feels about the situation? It seems rather amenable.
And scene. Always good to end on a question. All right, here's our musical interlude.
I marriage would forswear, but that I hear men tell, that she that dies a maid must lead an ape in hell. Therefore, fortune come, I will not mock and play, nor drive the bargain until it be driven away. Titles and lands I like, yet rather fancy can a man that wanteth gold than gold that wants a man. I marriage would forswear, but that I hear men tell, that she that dies a maid must lead an ape in hell. Therefore, if fortune come, I will not mock and play, nor drive the bargain until it be driven away. Titles and lands I like, yet rather fancy can a man that wanteth gold than gold that wants a man.
All right, listeners, that was The Maid by John Maynard. I'm your host this evening, Colette Ailery. Are you looking for new ways to play with the ever-encroaching fog? Robbie's Royal Goods now carries magical kites that float on fog, not wind. Pick up your fog kite at Robbie's today. Well, that ever-encroaching fog has really taken a turn here in Niqamui. All the weather reports this weekend have been fog, and more fog. So definitely get out there and play with that fog. It seems to have only the best intentions here in town, although there have been some curmudgeonly sorts up at the college who have commented, written into our radio station, WNQI, suggesting that this fog's playfulness is masking some ulterior motive, or perhaps if it has so much time to play, it may have some time to study or work. And to them, I say, let fog be fog. Let fog play. That's what fog is here to do. We should let it play and give it the space and the freedom to do the important task of reminding us all what it is to have a playful life. And now from the Niqamui Community Council, we have the latest decree. Due to recent events, all goblets are outlawed. Goblins are still questionable, but begrudgingly accepted. All right, our next scene, if you're all ready. Everyone in town finds themselves overcome with overwhelming malaise for some strange reason. This scene starts at the humming green portal, destination unknown, in La Petite Vie nightclub. Gervasio Flamini must make an appearance and comment on Sadie having somehow changed. It's like you're a different person. And go.
It just doesn't seem right. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying the fog's bad. Something's just off, and I'm not sure what it is. Now we have the humming green portal that everyone just seems to be fine with. No one else seems to be bothered by this.
I think it's quite stunning to look at.
I mean, yeah, it's beautiful.
An old man, very, very, very old, a dwarf, slowly totters in to La Petite Vie and starts to inspect the portal, gets out a toolbox, sets the toolbox heavily on the ground next to him, maybe not as much muscle strength as he used to have, opens the toolbox and gets out a standard wrench and starts using the wrench in the air next to the portal as if adjusting something. And the portal changes to a slightly different shade of green.
Well, I mean, it's still pretty, but I mean, now it's not as pretty. I thought the other color had a nice, I don't know, joie de vivre about it or something.
Yes, I know. I'm quite partial to green myself. I definitely preferred that. But this fellow certainly seems to know something about what's going on with that.
Sir, what can you give us anything about this portal? Where's it go? What is it? How'd it get here? Did the fog bring it? There's so many questions.
And also, can you change it back?
I'm looking into it now. You have to give me time to work. I'm an honest craftsman. And he gestures at the three of you, the hippo, the half-elf, and the gray-haired Macritus elf, and is like, hold your horses. You know, I charge by the hour, but that's no reason to rush me.
Look, I'm a bit of a handyman myself, and I know this scam. That's always what they say. Look, I've used it. You got to know something about it if you're messing with it already. What, you made it change color? That's not nothing.
He stands up very slowly, pushing on his toolbox to stand up, and turns to you, hippo folk, with the wrench outstretched at you, like telling you off, like a wagging finger, being like, you could have hired any portal repair people in town that you wanted, but you chose to hire me, so why are you bothering me for details before I've even had a chance to investigate? You young whippersnappers. And he points the wrench at Fennis and at Sadie, and then he stops.
You okay?
Sadie? And Sadie's like, yeah, do I know you? Hi, I'm Sadie Duca. Nice to meet you. I might have, it's, who knows, but it's nice to, do I know you? And she holds out a hand, shrinks back a little bit, steps away from the hand. The hand holding the wrench drops down to his side, and he goes, maybe I don't know you, but when I was kids with Sadie, we played together, and it's been about 300 years since then, but I know elves don't really age. Maybe that was your cousin, but when I knew you, you were quite shy and never forgot a face. Is that you, Sadie? Sadie shrugs and goes, what can I say? Maybe I would have recognized you, but you're really old now, so that's why. Gosh, you look really old. And he's like, oh, wow, you're incredibly rude. I whippersnapper. And he takes the wrench and he goes back to work. Must not be her.
And scene. We now go to our musical interlude. That song mysteriously appeared last night in the radio station exactly when the clock struck 13. Next up is Madrigal by John Wilby.
I live and yet methinks I do not breathe. I thirst and drink and thirst again. I sleep and yet do dream I am awake. I hope for that I have and want to take. I sing and sigh. I love and hate at once. Oh, tell me, restless soul, what uncouth jar doth cause in store such wanton peace, such war? I live and yet methinks I do not breathe. I thirst and drink and thirst again. I sleep and yet do dream I am awake. I hope for that I have and want to take. I sing and sigh. I love and hate at once. Oh, tell me, restless soul, what uncouth jar doth cause in store such wanton peace, such war?
And now, a look at traffic. The southbound road to Summerfell is experiencing slowdowns due to the army of revenants heading for the town of Pine Drake and pulling the little red wagon of the apocalypse. Travelers are advised to take alternate routes or face the consequences. You know, listeners, this strange, overwhelming malaise that has settled over our town like a fog, like the ever encroaching fog. Have we not all felt that dread, that lethargy, that sadness? What do we do with those feelings? I, for one, take myself to the opera, get myself out onto the town to experience all of the strange experiences that Niqamui has to offer. But I must say that this past week has been difficult to really embrace the nightlife, because even as I, in my heart, am feeling that overwhelming malaise, I notice that other performers are having a similar ennui. So I bring to you the latest decree from the Niqamui Community Council. All citizens must remain indoors during the next full moon. Anyone caught outside will be invited to the council's midnight luncheon. Please bring your own condiments and sense of impending doom. All right, our next scene. A cult is discovered in the LaRue Theater, based around the goblet of Retskirt's heart. What is it they want? This scene must involve a character named Lyle Canopy.
Hey, is this your first time in a cult? I'm sorry, I'm just kind of new here. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I just want to make sure I don't want to upset the supreme leader. So,
Hey, listen, man, it's all right. You know, that happens, newbies. You know, they come in, they're not really sure what to do. It happens. We've all been there. Just, you know, don't look the cult leader directly in the eye. You know, always remember, you know, if you take out gum, you have to share it with everyone, of course. Like, this is...
Oh, I didn't bring enough for everybody.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Well.
Please, don't tell them.
Don't worry about it. These newbies, they never survive the month. I don't know why you bother training them every time. Gosh.
I'm a newbie? What do you mean they don't last a month?
Well,
Look, just take my gum. I don't care anymore.
Fall in line, do what we do, and maybe you'll live. If not, you know, the full moon is a beautiful way to go.
you wouldn't know unless you've actually been there. Don't worry, you'll see it soon enough, I'm sure. I would say bring enough gum next time, but sorry, it's just the way it is.
Oh, so you think there'll be a next time?
Well,
You don't seem very sure.
you enjoy that gum. Just enjoy the gum. Just chew the gum. Just think happy thoughts, and you will be fine from a universal point of view. Help me out.
Yeah, 1 out of 10 times you're fine. Chillax.
I'm not great at math, but I don't love those odds. I'm a little scared. I'm gonna go find Lyle. And he wanders off. A few seconds later, you see a figure wander in. He's like, and you know it to be Lyle Canopy. And he's like, are you guys scaring off the new ones again?
I was trying to comfort him. I know that things can be scary as a newbie, and I was just trying to do my part as a senior and, guide him in gently. Did you know he brought gum, but not enough for everybody?
Oh, yeah, he mentioned that, but it was hard to understand, but I think, did you tell him to just chew the gum and enjoy himself? That's the best I could get out of it. He had, as best I could tell, about 47 pieces of gum in his mouth. He was trying to chew all of the gum?
Well, I gotta respect the way he wants to go out. I mean, not go out,
Well, no, yeah, he kind of did go out. I'm not going to lie. It didn't go well for him. And it wasn't even our doing. It turns out you can't chew 47 pieces of gum at once without choking.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to go that way. The good news is, and this is for everybody, we don't need a sacrifice this month. So convenient. This has worked out well. I appreciate everybody gathering. This has gone a little faster than we expected, but look, all hail the fog.
All hail the fog.
So y'all want to hit up Applebee's now? I'm a little hungry.
Yeah. After session
Yeah,
chicken wings.
And scene.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is, quote, "From all of us to our Musketeers coach, Andre. You push us beyond our limits to achieve our goals. Your motivation is priceless." End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. Thank you for supporting our show. We also have paperback, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. Or, at the very least, if there's an episode of Fire Breathing Kittens that made you smile, maybe share it with someone you know. That would help us grow. Thank you.
And now, co-sponsored by the Niqamui Community Council and the LaRue Theater Cult, we bring you Lava Manus by the Sinister Sanctus.
O portet ministros, manos lavare, antequam latrinam reliquent.
Breaking news in Niqamui today as compulsory hand washing results in a soap shortage across the city. Friends, listeners, worshippers of the Goblet of Red Skirt's Heart and or the ever-encroaching fog, let's talk a little bit today about gum. Is there a habit more disgusting and satisfying at the same time as chewing gum? I think about this often. Especially as my gum becomes more and more flavorless. I have been chewing the same piece of gum for the last 15 years due to a Niqamui Community Council decree. But is there if you think about it, the wear and tear on my jaw and my teeth and my enamel, is it really worth it for that satisfying click as it gets in your teeth? I don't know. I do know that I'm not allowed to not chew this gum, and so I continue to do so, which is, of course, why you sometimes hear a random pop or click while I'm broadcasting. Here I am compelled to chew gum, even on air. What else will we do? Meanwhile, from the Niqamui Community Council, I have yet another decree. There is a new popcorn stall near the LaRue Theater. No popcorn will be sold at the popcorn stall. Do not buy anything from the popcorn stall. Let's listen to another song. This time by William Byrd. My Mind to Me a Kingdom.
I joy not in no earthly bliss, I force not Croesus' wealth a straw. For care I know not what it is, I fear not fortune's fatal law. My mind is such as may not move for beauty bright nor force of love. I wish but what I have at will, I wander not to seek. For more I like the plain, I climb no hill in greatest storms. I sit on shore and laugh at them that toil in vain to get what must be lost again.
All right, our next scene, shake it up a little bit. The ever-encroaching fog comes to the station in a spirit of overwhelming malaise. The community invades the radio station in the middle of the broadcast. Include the host and radio station in the scene. This scene starts at the WNQI radio station. And really, folks, when you think about it, are we not all killers of cereal and other grains?
Yes, I've been a serial killer for a long time now, says Sadie, who is being interviewed in WNQI. I think it all first started when I was introduced to this new food. It was so intriguing and exciting to me. And is that fog behind your shoulder? It's creeping in from under the door and it's raising a questioning hand.
Well, the ever-encroaching fog, I'm sure, is always, wow, it's definitely coming in, isn't it? You know, usually we have a lot of good soundproofing here, and that tends to block things like that out.
It's now coming in through the vents at the top of the room, slowly falling and cascading from the vent down the wall. Is that normal here? It's getting closer to where we are.
No, that's definitely not normal. Listeners, Sadie Duca here is describing for you all the ever encroaching fog has decided, I guess, to come in and interrupt our interview with Sadie Duca, Mervon the Stolid, and Fennis Lightwall here from the Fire Breathing Kittens here today. But it seems that the ever encroaching fog has begun to roll in, as one might say, into our radio station here.
The fog seems, I don't know, it seems nice enough, but this, I'm gonna be honest, is a little menacing here.
Well, I feel like there's no greater time. The encroaching fog has had some influence on our community recently. I feel like that there's no one better to be interviewed.
So, Fennis, you think I should be interviewing the ever-encroaching fog?
Oh, yes, I think, well, we have the opportunity. I mean, it's being rather, well, I suppose it is rather rude to barge in uninvited, but even still, you know, the news important.
Fair.
You get what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Fennis, would you like to take on the first question and ask the ever-encroaching fog something newsworthy for our listeners?
Okay, sure thing. Excuse me, ever-encroaching fog, what did you do with Sadie's mashed potatoes? Did you eat it?
So, listeners, the ever the ever-encroaching fog has begun to shape itself into some strange mound of and in almost a weird bowl-like formation. It's very odd.
Is it 2 syllables? Is that bowl? Is the word bowl? Wait. Is it 3? Did you say I wasn't paying attention to how many syllables?
That sounds like 2 syllables to me, doesn't it?
Is it paper bowl? No, that's 3 syllables.
1 honk for yes and 2 honks for no. Is the word 1 syllable? Oh.
Okay. Well, all right. Wow. I didn't realize we knew that the ever encroaching fog is a very playful spirit. So So, of course, it is here to play charades with us on answering its interview questions.
Is it a movie? 1 hunk for yes and 2 hunks for no. Oh, darn.
Is it mashed potatoes?
There we go. Mashed potatoes is what the ever-encroaching fog did with Sadie's mashed potatoes. This seems like an excellent time for us to have another musical break. We'll be right back, perhaps with the ever-encroaching fog. But now we're going to listen to Council Life by Moderate Concern at the Bistro.
Chamber so dark that plots intertwine. No truth to be found, corruption their sign. With pens dipped in ink, they write our demise. The town in their grip, no room for our cries. Beware, beware the council's mind. Fear, fear, fear the silent night. Watch, watch the power they wield. Pray, pray our fate is sealed. Hey, hey, get out of here. We're trying to... What? Ah! 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Chambers deep, their wisdom unfolds. Their guiding light, the power upholds. With pens dipped in truth, they write our new dawn. The town in their hands, our fears now are gone. Heed, heed the council's call. Trust, trust, they lead us all. Hold, hold their vision true. Faith, faith in what they do.
And now for another decree from the council to promote environmental sustainability. Recycling bins will now accept unwanted thoughts and half-remembered nightmares. Please separate your anxiety from your paranoia before disposing of them. Wow, well, that was one heck of an interview. We've finally said goodbye to both the fire-breathing kittens and the ever-encroaching fog. Really amazing things from that fog. I've been really impressed, but also let's give a big hand for the fire-breathing kittens and their handling of that interview and taking on those questions and asking the fog those really hard-hitting journalistic questions that we needed to know the answers to. I really appreciate them kind of stepping up to the plate for that. We have another decree from the Niqamui Community Council. Effective immediately, all town clocks run backwards on Wednesdays. This ensures that everyone gets more time to contemplate their inevitable descent into madness. Synchronize your watches accordingly. Thank you so much. I'm your host for this evening, Colette Ellery. It's been a real pleasure bringing you the words of and voice of the Niqamui community. Thank you, and signing off. You've been listening to the Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. We had Mervon the Stolid.
Hey, thanks for having me. This has been a hoot.
Sadie Duca.
I wonder who that guy was earlier.
And Fennis Lightwall.
I really quite enjoyed the company of the fog. It was very oddly comforting to me. I hope I get to see them again.
And I'm your host today. Thank you so much for playing. We've been playing Community Radio by Quinn Murphy.
You've reached the end of the show, where we tell you about a podcast you might enjoy. Have you heard of the D&D show? That stands for the Danny C. and D Nicest Show. Join content creators Danny C. and D Nicest 84 as they talk gaming and streaming news and new game releases. Plus, there's a reliable dose of wrestling news, bad gaming stories, and interviews with the best content creators on the World Wide Web. From South Wales/New York City, you can expect a fortnightly podcast talking about everything from gaming, streaming, and all new games. Check out the D&D show, which stands for the Danny C. and D Nicest Show, a podcast.